You would have not believed my absolute shock and horror when I opened up Instagram yesterday to see that Alex Pereira versus Alexander Volkov was in the works for a heavyweight clash. I had honestly thought that was just the remnants of some salvia that I had been huffing on about 19 minutes prior, but no, that was a real thing that was going around. Now, luckily though, Ariel Helwani came out and completely dispelled the rumors, but he said something very interesting, and that was that the only person that Alex Pereira will be fighting next is Magomed Ankalaev. And, look, I was really happy to hear that because at this point, I was of the mind that that fight was just never going to happen. I thought either the UFC was ducking the fight, either Ankalaev was ducking the fight because he was just going to perpetually be in Ramadan every single time they offered it. But, no, look, it looks like that fight's going to happen. But, it's very interesting. I think that very clearly, Magomed Ankalaev, when it just comes to straight up skill for skill, when it comes to well-roundedness, he is probably the best in the division, no question. But MMA fans, for whatever reason, they really don't want to hear that. They're just sick and tired of hearing about this guy. For whatever reason, they look at him and they're just like, no, you're not it. You're not it. You're not special. And I think that's interesting. And I think that, look, I don't know. But I think today I do want to answer a question, and that is Magomed Ankalaev a real threat to Alex Pereira, or is he the limp dick, retarded cousin of all the Dagestanis that just ain't meant to be anything? Now, of course, the most important aspect when breaking down this fight is understanding that while Magomed Ankalaev has shown to be a very good grappler, to have very good takedowns, he is a striker. The only time we have ever seen him choose to wrestle in the UFC, it was because he was desperate to get the fight to the ground because Jan Blachowicz destroyed both of his legs. Apart from that, Magomed Ankalaev is primarily a boxer in particular, and he is a very, very heavy counter striker. His game opens up when you try to throw a right hand against him. He'll parry it, he'll slip, he'll get to the inside, and once he's there, he lights you up with a 3, 4, 5 punch boxing combination, and he is extremely accurate. His hand speed is very, very fast, and he can knock you out. Look, of course, boxing skill is pretty few and far between in the UFC light heavyweight division, but I would say somebody like Volkan Ozdemir for that weight class is at the upper echelon of boxing skill. And when he fought Magomed Ankalaev, it just wasn't close. Like, he shouldn't have been in there with him. Ankalaev was so much better in that area. He just got absolutely picked apart, destroyed, and knocked out. Just looking at Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira in the pocket, Ankalaev's hand speed is going to be far superior. I think his combinations are a lot better. I think that in that area, he is certainly better. Here's the thing, though, you absolutely have to understand about Magomed Ankalaev, and that is, again, as I mentioned, he is a counter striker. But he is a counter striker to such an extent that he hates going first. He hates it. Absolutely, almost, pretty much, completely refuses to do it. But he uses a lot of pressure. He really tries to walk you down, to get in your face. And what this does, it forces guys to try to throw against him. And again, though, that is what he's waiting for. The best example of this by far is the Johnny Walker fight. Johnny and his team knew damn well what Magomed Ankalaev was good at. They knew what he wanted, and they had a very intelligent approach to that fight, which was try to keep the range, don't really throw any punches, and just kick him in the legs, because that had been a problem for him in the past. And what we saw, though, was that, for one, Magomed Ankalaev seemed to be a lot more prepared for the leg kicks from Johnny Walker. Against Jan Blachowicz, of course, because Magomed is primarily a boxer, he stands with a lot of weight on his front leg, which, of course, right, when you're eating a leg kick, if you're putting weight onto your leg at all, it's going to make that kick about 10 times worse. So what he was doing was just lifting it in the air. He wasn't trying to check. He was just taking all the weight off of his lead leg, and that pretty much neutralized the calf kick. Of course, though, I would say that Johnny Walker just doesn't set it up as well as somebody like Jan Blachowicz, who we'll discuss in a second. But apart from that, Magomed just broke him down with pressure. Just again, got in his face, kept walking him down, was just closing the distance inch by inch, completely shut Walker down, which forced Walker to try to have to step in and just throw something, land anything, do anything he can to possibly get this guy off of him. But of course, that just made him immediately run into the monster counter shot that knocked him out. Of course, though, then you have to look at the Jan Blachowicz fight, and that is the fight that I think really showed some of Ankalaev's weaknesses on the feet. For one, of course, Jan Blachowicz just is a horrible matchup on the feet for somebody like Magomed Ankalaev, and that is because Jan, of course, is a very, very good striker. He's very big, and he's very durable. And he really didn't throw very many punches at all against Ankalaev. When he would, sometimes Ankalaev would find counters, but for the most part, he just hung back and spammed the low leg kicks. The only thing he did was cover up, use his durability, and make Ankalaev go first. That is not where he is the best. Ankalaev was forced to have to try to step in and land something because all Jan was doing was kicking him in the legs, just going shin to shin with him. Whenever he switched stances, he would just switch to a traditional outside calf kick, completely destroyed both of Ankalaev's legs. And again, Ankh trying to go forward, Ankh trying to be the guy throwing first. That is just not where his game opens up. And again, on the feet, it was looking pretty horrendous for him. So now, just gauging the striking, of course, when you look at ALex Pereira, you would say a lot of the same issues he had against Jan Blachowicz should also be there against ALex Pereira. I mean, of course, I wouldn't say Pereira's as durable as Blachowicz. I mean, he's not built like a literal refrigerator. However, Pereira is not one to overextend on shots. Pereira is not the guy to try to lunge in with a right hand that he has the potential to miss and run into anything. He's going to hang back. He's going to jab. He's going to be looking to land long hooks. And he is going to be looking to land leg kicks. Now, of course, something that could help Ankalaev in this case is the fact that he can fight from southpaw and he can fight from orthodox. In pretty much all of his fights, he switches back and forth pretty fluidly. Now, on the flip side of that, even if you are standing southpaw, Pereira will find ways to kick your lead leg. And I don't think I need to sit here and explain to you guys how ALex Pereira makes it so insanely difficult to read his leg kicks. I mean, it's so absolutely hard that it's almost impossible to game plan at preventing the calf kicks. He hides it too well. And of course, trying to pressure ALex Pereira, trying to get in his face and walk him down, that is a very scary proposition. Because Pereira, when you mix his power and you mix his accuracy, it is just a fucking problem. I mean, Pereira only needs to land with the two small knuckles to knock you out. So, look, I really think that on the feet, Ankalaev does not match up to ALex Pereira well at all. And this is interesting, of course, because Magomed Ankalaev is claiming continuously that he's not going to try to take Alex down. He wants to strike with him. He keeps saying it over and over and over again. And I mean, look, right, maybe there is some validity to that claim. However, my mom also said she was going to come back one day. You know what I mean? So I think, no, he's not going to do that. I think he should try to wrestle. I think he is going to try to wrestle. And that is because, in theory, this is where the fight would be very lopsided. Again, right, he's fighting Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz has put both of Magomed Ankalaev's leg health in critical condition. Like, I swear to God, one more kick to either leg and that fight was over. Alright, the UFC 5 animation of the guy falling over due to fucking leg accumulation of damage was about to ensue at any moment. So, Magomed Ankalaev, for the first time in his career pretty much, shot a clean, power double leg, lifted the fucking giant Jan Blachowicz in the air and dumped him. That's scary, alright? Yeah, that's pretty fucking terrifying. Here is the thing, though, right? Here's the thing. It is not as simple as just grab Alex Pereira and the takedown is easy. I don't believe that is the case anymore. I think in order to hit a takedown on Alex Pereira, it has to be timed decently well. You just take a bad shot out in the open and he's going to defend it no problem. The most Alex Pereira has ever been taken down was against Jan Blachowicz. And again, right, Jan Blachowicz, we learned from the Magomed Ankalaev fight that he is horrible off of his back. You put him flat on his back, I mean, that's pretty much it. He ain't getting back up. But Jan is not a bad grappler. I mean, look at some of these positions he had Alex in. I mean, he clearly knows what he's doing here. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu for whatever the fuck that's worth. But what we saw from that fight was it is very difficult to hit double legs against Alex Pereira. You shove him up against the fence, try to dig both their hands behind him. It's just really difficult. Anybody who's grappled with Alex Pereira says he is so absurdly physically strong. He's like a stone statue stuck to the earth. But when you pick up a single leg and you start off balancing him is where the takedowns really start opening up, which, I mean, that does make sense. I mean, Jan had 2 moments of picking up the single leg and then running the pipe to take Alex down. His defense off the single leg was not nearly as good as the double. And of course, Magomed Ankalaev also hit this against Jan Blachowicz. When Jan was getting deep on takedowns against Pereira, it pretty much came from him slipping his shots to get deep on the takedown. Again, though, as I mentioned earlier, because Alex Pereira very rarely overextends, because he's never throwing strikes into bad positions, it took Blachowicz a long time to find the opportunity to slip and get in on a shot. Therefore, he ate a lot of calf kicks, a decent amount of jabs, and of course, per the judging criteria, all the damage that Alex Pereira did on the feet is worth infinitely more than just securing a position on top. I mean, that is why Alex Pereira won that fight. So you look at Magomed Ankalaev, he needs to find his opportunities to get deep on takedowns, which is difficult to do because Pereira is not going to gift him anything. He needs to either close his eyes, just try to run him to the fence and pick up a single leg, which of course I don't think is a shoe-in to complete takedowns at a high accuracy against Pereira. You're also risking eating a flying knee to the face as you're shooting. Or he needs to try to find an opportunity to slip a shot and get on the inside. I think he's very capable of both of those things at certain points, but again, it's the time in between those moments where Magomed is going to be eating a lot of calf kicks, and I don't think he's going to find a lot of success with his hands, because I just don't think Pereira is going to give him an opportunity to slip on the inside. And of course, there's still so much danger at getting tagged by Pereira on the feet. Of course, though, it is very important to mention that at this point, the Jan Blachowicz fight for Alex Pereira was coming up on 2 years ago, and he has certainly been working on those skills ever since that fight. I mean, just recently there was footage of him grappling with Kai Barallo, and I just think that, of course, right, at the age of 37 years old, you're not expecting to completely transform your game. I mean, no shot. But again, Alex Pereira came into the sport of MMA fairly late. I think there is still a lot of room for him to improve his skills. And I think it is very, very possible he comes into this fight against Magomed Ankalaev with more ground skills, more takedown defense than we've ever seen from him in the past. Again, though, you cannot look at this sequence right here. After 3 hard rounds fought, after an insane amount of damage taken to both of his legs, the fact that he was able to do this, that's a fucking problem. You can't look at this and just go, oh, no, Magomed doesn't, no, he's, no, Magomed Ankalaev, come on, no, there's no shot he's beating Pereira. Dude, that's a problem. That is a serious problem, and I think this is the most dangerous fight Alex Pereira will ever have. This is the ultimate test. This is absolutely the ultimate test.